Hey guys, this is Andy McCann here on your podcast, host of CrossFit Garage, where we are trying to help you build or lay a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finances. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about rest, a couple other things as well. So it's things going on in the gym that, I guess they're going on right now, but by the time you get this, it'll be old news because, if you want to stay ahead of schedule in creating content and giving you guys information and not skip, I need to stay a little bit further out because stuff happens. So usually I'm 2 to 3, 4 weeks out. I've got a vacation coming up, so I'm going to get a little further out because I won't do anything while on vacation. But that's part of what we're going to talk about too. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is rest and why we do it and what we're doing and why it's different than other things and maybe why we don't rest at all. So today is an interesting workout. We've got a 1,000-meter row with some rest, and then a 750-meter row rest, a 400-meter row, and then a 200-meter row. So we have a different row, maybe it's 500-meter row and 250. But anyway, point is you have a exercise, some rest, an exercise, some rest. And the rest is, let me go actually and find it because it's important when I tell you this. Yeah, there we go. So I pulled up the workout. Actually, why don't I put it on the screen so you guys can see it? So let's see, I'm going to go right here. So this is a podcast and a YouTube video, and that's the whiteboard. That's not what we want. Calendar, nope, workout. That's it. This is what we want right here. So you guys watch on a video can see this. Those that are listening, I will talk to you and tell you what I am looking at. So we've got today's workout. So it's rowing interval part 3 and a 1,000-meter row, and then a 4-minute rest. So this interesting, you're like, well, 4 minutes, why 4 minutes? Well, it should take you about 4 minutes to do a 1,000-meter row. So if I'm doing a 500-meter row at a medium pace, medium with a little bit of effort, it's going to be about maybe a 157 pace. So 2 minutes is doable. 2 minutes on a 500 gives you 4 minutes on a 1,000. So you're getting as much rest in afterwards as it took you to do the workout. So these are sprint style movements then, because they want you, if they're giving you that much rest, they expect some full effort. Okay, so then that starts to beg the question is, why is having an equal amount of rest as whatever I just did equivalent to I need to be sprinting? How do I know that? Well, just think about it like this. If you went and ran, let's say a 10K. Oh man, I don't even know. Let's do a 5K. I think a 5K is 3 miles, so that should take you, I don't know, like 20 minutes. So you go do a 5K, you run it in 20 minutes. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, all right, let's do it again. You immediately know, I'm not going to do as good because it just hasn't been enough time. But if I said, hey, let's wait until tomorrow and do it again. Yeah, you'd probably be okay. Probably a little bit sore, but you could probably do somewhere in the same, give the same response to that stimulus, right? So, and that's really the keys of this is the response and the stimulus. What are we trying to get out of the stuff we're doing? So if I give you 5 minutes, not enough. 24 hours, way too much. Then you start playing with that time domain. Well, the body recovers relatively quicker than the 24-hour day. So I really probably, if you gave me 20 minutes and then I was going to do it again, I could probably give you some similar results, especially if I was smart and I hydrated, took some salts, maybe ate something small, I don't know, or did a lot of stretching or whatnot. You might even find that your second run is better just because you're loose, right? So here's the thing. How much time is the right amount of time? Well, we don't really know. And even in this one, hey, you can row 1,000-meter, wait 4 minutes. Do 750, wait 3 minutes. How do they know that's right? It's just a guess on average efforts. And then even more so, it's a guess on your body. So some people can recover well, and some people don't recover well at all. So I've got friends who messed up their adrenals, and so they really just don't recover very well, right? Or on the flip side, for a long time, during high school, I wrestled. And you do a 2-minute session and you fight each other, whatever. And then they break you up. You get a minute rest. You can go talk to your coach. He's telling you things, do this, do that. And you try to remember it and you go back out there. I always came back out after the minute rest like, hell yeah, let's do this. I never knew that everyone else didn't feel the same way. So, years later, we get into CrossFit and there's a whole lot of start, stop, go and this and that and comparison of data points and all that. And I come to find out that, hey, while I may not be strong, and I may not be fast, I can recover well. Is that super helpful? I don't know, but it's a weird little talent inside your body. I don't know how to really train that. Can I get better at recovery? Possibly, but what I guess what I'm trying to say there is you don't really know, or they don't really know how much recovery you really need. It could be less, it could be more. So typically, if you're going to give yourself the same amount of time that it took you to do whatever it is you're doing, you're probably okay. All right, let's back that out. What about on lifts? So we don't really rest much on lifts, but the other day we did a lift where we had 3 minutes of rest between the lifts. Now, or it was lift every 3 minutes. So here's the thing. They, the powers that be, they will tell you you want to rest 2 minutes between your sets. So as CrossFitters, we just can't take it. So what they mean is if, I don't know, let's say I'm doing a deadlift and in my sets, I'm doing 3 sets of 10. How long would it take to do 10 seconds, I guess, to do 10 deadlifts? So you would start your clock right then. When you did the last deadlift, you walk over, you hit your timer. I have 2 minutes till my next set. CrossFitters won't do that. We're going to start at 0. We're going to lift. And then when the clock hits 2, we're lifting again. And that could be okay. It's only 10 seconds off on a deadlift, but we're trying to get you a little bit more rest. So this is where we'll tell you, hey, let's do it every, on the threes, every 3 minutes. That way we know you're getting enough rest. Now, do you really need it? Well, maybe not, but most of us do. Most of us, roll in that bell-shaped curve. Actually, let me do a little segue right here. People say this all the time. I don't know if everybody really knows what the bell-shaped curve means. So it's standard deviations, right? So it's a distribution plot. So I pulled up a little chart here, and it's talking about real-life examples of bell-shaped curves, right? So human height distributions. Most people are going to fall into this area, and so under the shape of the bell is where most people lie. Then you get out to the far extremes, and there's less people. So there's one right here about IQ. Okay, don't ever say you don't learn stuff here on this podcast, because here you go. Bell-shaped curve. So what they're doing is they're taking the most of the curve and they're saying this area meets expectations. So it's the 50% plot. So 50% of the curve is under, or 50% of the plots are going to be under this section. And then you roll out a little bit further. These are below expectations, 15% on the sides. And then they've got, or it could be a below or below. So it's just these as you slide out to the right. And as you get further to the right or left, you've got really crappy performers or super excellent performers, right? And I've said it before, so it's an asymptotic tail. So what does that even mean? It just means the curve is getting close to 0, but never touching 0. So you're not going to have well, I suppose maybe you could. The ubermost human ever born, and they're so smart that on this curve, they actually reach, the bottom state, the best or the worst. Now, I guess you could see the worst coming up more often, but usually they're like, hey, it's getting really close. So asymptotic just simply means that the line gets really close to 0, but it doesn't touch 0. So it has to do with distributions. Most people are under the category of we're in this area. This is where we recover. Most people are going to recover right in here. So they use that. Now there are some outliers, and that's just life. And can we plan for you? No. So this is why when you go to nobody goes and plays video games like we used to in the 80s. But if you went to a place to play video games, the joystick's on the right and your fire button's on the left, because the majority of people are right-handed. So whatever. And lefties have to learn to play that game. If you talk to a lefty, they're going to tell you life is irritating. You get used to it, but life is irritating. So if you have a kid that is right-handed but left-eyed, they're going to tell you, man, life is weird. Also, if you ask someone like Aaron or Josh, they're going to tell you, yeah, the world is not made for people that are over 6'5", because if you watch, both those guys have to kind of duck below the doors, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, why do you have to duck below a door? Yeah, because they're really tall. They're outside the boundaries, right? Is the world made for them? No. If it was made for them, they could walk under a door frame and not have to worry about it, but they have to look. Now, on the flip side, I never have to look because I'm tiny and the world is made for me. So I think it's something like if you're 5'8" right-handed, then you've got it made. Something like that. Okay, anyway, back to rest. So we had a lift cycle, and you're lifting and you're building up, and why 3 minutes? Again, it's to give you the amount of rest that you need to perform the movement with the stimulus that's intended. What was the stimulus? Lift heavy. So I've got a great video. I don't think I can play it. Every time I try to play a video, they say, oh no, this is now copyrighted. We're stealing whatever. Not that I make any money on this. I just don't know what that means, and I'm not willing to research it. I will see if I can pull the video up, but I won't play it. Okay, so in this video, I got Aaron. He's about to do a 225-pound power clean. And did he rest enough? Maybe. We've been doing a lot of work. So this is a weird thing too. You start doing this heavy work and there's a time in which my rest is not recovering me. And yet I am trying to build my muscles and my body up to lift this weight, because you don't want to just walk in. I mean, everyone would agree that, hey, just walking in and trying to power clean 225, probably not the smartest thing. Yeah, you could probably do it and you're super fresh, but you should probably be warmed up. And so I'm willing to give up some of the weight that we could have lifted in order to be a whole lot more sure that nothing's going to go wrong, right? So rule number 2, don't do anything stupid that'll prevent you from showing up tomorrow. So this is pretty good right here. We've been doing a lot of lifts. Aaron's got a heavy bar out there. He is going to explode through it. And again, I am not going to play it, even though it's my video, which I don't know how I can get copyrighted on my own video, but so here he is trying to start. It's on the deadlift side of it. And then he's here at the top and you can't see it, but he looks at me and he just smiles big like, hey, that was heavy and I exploded. It was a good deadlift, but there's no way I'm pulling this up. So should he have had more rest? Possibly. So we have diminishing returns. Now, if he tries to rest too much, then is he too tired? So the same thing, like if we're doing this row, going back to the idea of rowing and having rest in there, the chances of messing something up on the row are quite slim. So you're just pulling the bar. It's pretty lightweight. You're in a seated position. It's a pretty safe movement. It's basically a deadlift, and probably not going to have any chance of messing anything up. Now, I say that and y'all are going to go prove me wrong. So if I'm lifting something heavy like 225 pounds, there is a chance for something to go wrong. I mean, he's aggressively pulling some weight off the ground. There's opportunity, right? So if he waits too long, then potentially he cools too far down and he's not going to be able to lift the weight just because he's not going to have that nervous system response. So there is magic in this, and he could probably lift more, and not just him, but all of us, right? If you fail to lift, what is it? It could just be heavy. It could be you waited too long. It could be that you didn't rest enough. Yeah, you're like, well, wait. Why can't you just simply tell me that? It's the same reason we can't tell you, like, when I say, like, let's go down to a squat, your hip crease should be below the tops of your knees. Most everyone can do that pretty easy, but if you look around the room, it doesn't look exactly right. So we've got some new coaches coming on board. I'm going to talk about that too. But so it's been fun to have them on my side or on the coach side. They're like, interesting. I didn't realize everyone was doing something a little bit different as much as they are. I'm like, yeah, because everybody's body is built different. And that's kind of the point here is everybody's body is built different, even in their rest. I rest really quick. Why? I don't know. But I'm also not very strong. So when we were rolling up stats for Andy McCann, I guess I got a lot of dexterity, or I don't know what it would be, but I didn't get a lot in strength. So it's important that you learn this about yourself. Is it maximally important? No, but it's good to know. So your performance is going to be affected by something as small as rest in the lifts. So this is something else that came up yesterday. We were doing 2 wall walks. So you did some stuff, wall walks, you did some sit-ups, then there was more wall walks, 2 wall walks, only 2. You're like, well, it's only 2. I'll just do them, smack them back to back. Here's the thing. When you do a thing fast like that, just 2 wall walks, it's just 2. You're going to burn out your shoulders a lot faster. If you took a moment to do 1 and then shake it out and do 1 more, you're actually going to be able to hold on to 2. And so weirdly, doing 2 a little bit slower is going to make you faster overall, because doing them fast is going to eventually wreck you. And you don't know where that wrecking point is. Is it in round 2, 3, 4? I don't know. So it's the same thing on the push-ups. Monostructural movement, I'm just pushing up with my arms, chest to the ground, I push with my arms. I know from years of doing CrossFit that if I do a set of 10, I'm okay, unless there's more to come. And there's not enough room to recover. So if I do, let's say it's do 10 push-ups and then run 800 meters, yeah, I'm good to go, no problem. But if it's do 10 push-ups, do 10 sit-ups and move back to 10 push-ups, I'm not going to be, very quickly, I'm going to run out of steam. So I know that if I do 3 push-ups, sit back and rest, even at the very beginning, I can pretty much do that forever. So 4 is okay-ish. It just depends on what's happening, right? 3 is a magic number for me. 4 is a little bit dicey. It just depends. 10, never going to happen unless I have enough rest. So these are the things you start to learn about yourself. What do I need personally to make this happen and move? Okay. So rest is pretty important. That is like the resting inside of the cycle of the workout. Then there's just rest in general. So CrossFit gets a bad rap, and sometimes because they're like, well, there is no rest. And that's true. We are not training in that type of recovery. So here's what the idea comes from. It's not necessarily bad. It's just different. And, it's what you like. Well, most of y'all did not have parents in the 60s and 70s. So you don't know what that's like, but we would watch cartoons. My mom would lay on her side and do leg lifts. I'm like, hey mom, what are you doing leg lifts for? She's like, well, I'm trying to burn the fat off the side of my butt. I'm like, well, even as a kid, I knew that, well, if you're doing that movement and it's straining that muscle, isn't that muscle going to get bigger and simply push that fat out? So it doesn't work the way they thought. They thought, hey, I could spot burn. You can't spot burn anything. Weight comes off the way that went on, which is fortunate and unfortunate. You know how it's going to look, but you also can't, you just have to go through the process. You got to lose it the way it went on in reverse. Okay. So, what do you do for the rest? In the 80s, it came up, hey, I'm going to do this lifting. It's going to be hypertrophy. The idea of hypertrophy is we're just building muscle volume. So we're tearing down the muscle and they're giving it rest so it can increase its size. So you could say it's body sculpting, but not exactly. It's more, I just want to be a big dude to kick sand in someone's face on the beach, right? So is that necessarily what we want? No, but that's what everybody knew, and that's what we were trying to do. And, Arnold Schwarzenegger and those guys made it pretty popular. And those guys would do these sets for strength and muscle growth, and then they would stay off of that muscle for 2 days and then get back to it. So they found 2 days is their magic number. Is it right for everyone? No, but it was pretty good for everyone. And we're on a day cycle. It's hard to get off a day cycle. So they're like, yeah, 1 day isn't enough. 3 days is too much. Let's just go with 2 and see what happens. And 2 is the day they chose. So it's 2 days of rest. We don't do that. Why? Because we're not necessarily trying to build our muscles to look bigger. We're trying to recruit muscle fiber for more strength. So they're both going to make you strong, just differently. So we're not resting something. Now, everything in your body is probably sore. That's okay. Tomorrow we're going to come back. It's still full body. Is it wrong? No, it's just different. Do we need to rest? Well, yes, but not for the same reason. So the definition of CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. The part that I disagree with is the assumption that high intensity means all the damn time. You can't do that. Yeah, when we started doing CrossFit, we tried to do it. That's in 2008. Eric, Shane, Wes, and I would be like, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's throw this junk down. Then tomorrow, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's throw it down. It's hard to sustain. We had to really change the way we ate. We tried to change the way we sleep, change the way we recover. It was not easy. And then we realized, hey, it's impractical to burn it down every single day because I literally can't do it right now. I am just so beat up. CrossFit would say, or at least Greg Glassman, work out for 3 days, take 1 day of rest. So now you have a full body rest and then work out for 3 days and take 1 day of rest. It's just really hard to have an 8-day week. We tried to do that as a gym, and when people showed up on Thursday, but we were closed, they're like, why are you closed on Thursday? I'm like, well, it's today's rest day. And then next week, it was a different day we were closed on because it's an 8-day cycle, not a 7-day cycle. So we quickly found out we could not actually do that as a gym. There was another gym, CrossFit 140, which was on 140 down the street from us. And they were closed on Thursday because they're like, hey, we want people to rest. So it was 3 days on, rest Thursday, 2 days on, rest Sunday. And they sort of forced it, and it worked for them for a while. So it's hard to force that because everybody's schedule is different. You're then only trying to find people, not only that want to do CrossFit and like the idea of being harder to kill, but also fit your schedule, which just makes your business a whole lot more niche, which could be good. But in this case, for them, it wasn't because they no longer exist, unfortunately. Okay, so how much rest do we need then? Well, a great example. I would say listen to your body and know your body. So this morning I woke up and I was like, I feel a tiny bit off. Not enough that I really care, but enough that I'm like, I feel a tiny bit off. Today's workout, I'm like, hey, we're supposed to row. I have 3 rowers in my basement. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to row gently right as I woke up to see if I can burn some of this out. I like the idea of exercise as a medicine. So sometimes sweating it out is a good thing. So I put on a hoodie, got a podcast in and just rowed. I know the row was 1,000 meters and then break it up. And I didn't do exactly that. That's fine. Hey, rule number 1, show up. I did something and I wasn't bad, but I didn't feel 100%. So, I feel pretty good now. So it might have just been a morning thing or maybe I slept funny. I don't know. But I decided that, hey, I'm going to go a little bit easier. I'm still going to move, but I'm going to go a little bit easier. Is that rest? Well, I think if you ask a normal person, they're going to say, no, that's not rest. But if you ask a CrossFitter, they're going to make, oh, you did what I did, but you did it easier? Yeah, that's rest. That's an active rest day. So the idea of what we're doing and how we're doing it can be slightly different. Okay, so you and rest. You're in the gym. You're brand new. Let's say you just signed up. You're like, oh, this is crazy. You guys are this. I love it. Everybody's fun. It's exciting. Something. It's new every day. I want to throw it down. And go to town on this. Like a good example, Tommy. I love it. He's new to the gym. Lots of enthusiasm. He pretty much throws it down every day. You guys know I'm like 106. So when I look at all you guys, I'm like, I don't know. You guys are like 15, 20. I don't know. So all of you guys look like you're about 25. Tommy's probably not 25. I'm going to say he's 25. And he has got, maybe he's 22 actually. I think he said his age at one point. But you guys all look really young to me. Anyway, he's got a lot of energy. He recovers pretty fast. He's got, sounds like good rest. And he comes in and pretty much burns it down. He's like, I think I got this. I'm like, let's see it. And he does. He moves really good. He can do that. He needs less rest. Or he could go faster, right? Take it on the flip side, me, I'm like, hey, today might just be a move day. Again, age plays a part in this, right? So you need to listen to your body. Also, this is one of the great reasons you have a coach. Hey, coach, this is how I feel. Let's talk about the workout. Ask them. So again, having some of these guys, I'm going to give them some shout out in a minute, give them some love on the podcast, but having them there with me doing some shadowing or the other way around, it is fun to see them experience what you guys are doing and seeing that not everybody reacts the same way to the same stimulus. And it's true. And they've got a lot of great questions on, hey, like, do I correct that? I'm like, well, the movement, like, who was doing, there was some kettlebells and somebody, was it kettlebells? Let's just pretend it was kettlebells. Somebody was doing kettlebells on the far right of the gym. And we're watching. I was like, hey, you see where their back is kind of doing this? I would like to fix it, but I think he's only got 3 reps left. And with the time remaining, I don't think he's going to make it back to the kettlebells. And I think it's just basically because he's tired, because the other reps were looking good. So sure enough, did 2 more reps, put it down. I said, let's just watch and see what happens. Never made it back to the kettlebells. So that's a coaching opportunity. Should I go over there and stop him in his workout and tell him, I think no. He's at the end. Yeah, your form breaks down, right? Could he use some rest? Probably, but he's almost done. There's only 2 minutes left. And I don't think he's going to make it back to the kettlebells anyway, because it was like lunges. I don't remember what it was, but some row in there. Anyway, whatever. He wasn't going to make it back to the kettlebells. Some V-ups, that sounds right. V-ups, kettlebells, and something else. And so afterwards, I did go up and say, hey, right at the end. And he's like, yeah, I felt it because I was getting kind of tired. But even they said, yeah, I had like 2 reps left, so whatever. So should they have rested a little bit there? Possibly. But I mean, kind of no, because CrossFit's about the intensity. So I said we're going to execute it with high intensity sometimes. And that's the thing I would add in is you don't put intensity in all the time. We try to burn it down, and it's just not possible to do that all the time. There are days you do bring the heat. That's great. Maybe a Monday and a Tuesday. But by Friday, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of whipped. I can't do that. That's okay. We're in here moving. Are we getting the same response? Possibly not. Would it have been better for you to rest on Wednesday? Possibly. This is where you get to know your body. There are some people at the gym that come Monday and Tuesday, take Wednesday off, and then back Thursday, Friday. Great. And they have the weekend. There are other guys in the gym that do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off, they're back Friday, Saturday, and they take Sunday off. That would be ideal. I just can't make that work in my life. So then you're getting down to which problem am I trying to solve? Am I trying to solve my rest? Am I trying to solve my uber fitness? I want to be the best of the best of the best? Or do I want to be harder to kill? What we're doing is going to make you harder to kill. When you go to the doctor, they're going to be, damn, you're looking good, right? This is what we want. And the other problem I want to solve is I want my family to love me. And if I'm like out training all the time and taking Saturdays for me, then who's taking them to soccer, right? So, or I'm not watching soccer. So I want to be available to them. So I make a choice that, yeah, I'm not going to be there on Saturday. I'm going to give it to my family. So this coming Saturday, Evie and I have another adventure race. And you're thinking, wow, why so many? Because my 15-year-old daughter wants to hang out with me in the woods running races. Hell yeah, I'm in. Does it mess up some of my schedule? No, not really, because I like this stuff and I want to make my schedule around it. But yes, it sort of does. But there's only a certain amount of time where we're going to get to hang out. And eventually, like my oldest is figuring out, Olivia, she's like, wait a minute. I got to go to this job 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, and then I get Fridays off. I'm like, yeah. So I'm trapped there for 10 hours. I mean, trapped, she didn't say trapped, but you know what I mean, right? Those that are working, you're like, yeah, I totally get it. I'm like, yes, but you know the money tree we talk about? And she's like, yeah, I know the money tree, because you know when you slide your credit card, that it works. That's the money tree. I said, you know what makes the money tree grow? Planting time. So you have to plant time into the business. And when you plant time into whatever business, they're going to shed out money from the tree. So it's going to grow it, and they're going to rain money down into your bank account. But you have to plant time. So you got to choose what you're going to do, and you got to arrange your life. And yes, rest is an important part of it. I think probably the biggest part I'd give you on rest is the rest that you really want is a good night's sleep. If you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, then we should really start there and figure out how to fix that. If you have issues with that, there's another podcast that I did. I think it's called 18-ish ways to get a good night's sleep. So go check that out. But I do want to throw out some coach love here in a second. Let me pull this up. All right. I think that worked. Yeah, you can see this picture. It's not the best picture, but so in a very non-scientific way and a technology way, we're using Google Sheet to keep track of the coaching calendar. So it helps us out because we can color coordinate. There's a thing called conditional formatting, which is pretty cool. And you can go in there and like change the way you see people's names or whatever words you're putting in there. So we have the classes lined up here. So what I'm looking at is our schedule in a Google spreadsheet. It's got the days of the week down the left side and the times of the classes across the top. That way we can see it pretty easy, and we can just keep scrolling down through time. So we, Coach Jamie keeps track of this, and I think we have it down to like September or October, somewhere in that time frame. That way we can look at vacations and things coming up. The summer gets a little bit messy. We just happen to have a couple overlapping coach sessions, and then several coaches are going on a trip together, which anyway, this brings us to a point where I'm like, hey, I think I made us a little fragile in the sense that we've got really good, stable coaching. And that was a problem we tried to solve years ago, is how do we keep coaches here and not just make it a stepping stone to something else. So now we've hit a new phase in our life where I just didn't really occur. When you have coaches here for that long, they're going to be friends. And when they're friends, they're probably going to go on vacation together. When they do that, well, then you're left with a lot of not able to coach, or not a lot of spots, right? So that's one problem to solve. The other is, I think I let one of our coaches have too many classes and then burnt them out without really thinking about it. And that is my fault. I should have really forced hey, let's not do so much. Anyway, you live and you learn. I'm an electrical engineer trying to run a business. And as most of you know, I'm not very good at the business side of it. But I guess the coaching is going okay, right? Anyway, so I've been talking about finding some of you guys here in the gym that want to coach because you love it, right? This isn't a thing that you're going to do to get like, oh, I've got a 401k. It's not. It's a 1099 job. We're just doing it as contractors. We do it because we love it and it's fun. And we want to see the place stay and grow, right? So when everybody goes on vacation and is Andy coaching 9 classes, or how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 classes. When it's me coaching 8 classes a day, I'm going to be burnt out and it's not going to work. I'm going to have to change the classes to like everyone go for a run, right? So I would actually condense the classes. I had a way to make this work, but better than that is some of you guys stepped up and said, hey, I've been interested in doing this. I would like to do it. One of my favorite was David Wallace said, hey, it's been on my to-do list, like a bucket list for years. I just never got around to it. So CrossFit put out a coupon for their online level 1, which I didn't know that was a thing that was so like, it's becoming huge now because you can just do it. It's so easy to get done rather than trying to go to a location. You can do it with them. There's a module section that you do on your own speed. And then you can join in to a Zoom call where they're going to watch you do movements. And Josh just did it. It worked out pretty good. And he said, man, I am really sore. And that's actually what I remember coming out of that too. I'm like, they had you do so many squats. He's like, yes. So he said, tell everyone to warm up ahead of time. Anyway, so I got, Josh has already done his level 1 and he is picking up some classes. This will be old news by the time you guys get here. But maybe I'll take this picture and post it for you guys. But he's going to be picking up classes on Monday and Friday for me. So that's awesome. I'm gone on vacation with my family. So it's me that's causing the problem right now. And then Nick Armenta, so he has got some classes now, and he's all good on coaching. He's been doing this forever. You guys know him. Josh has also been doing this forever. You see right here also Owen, he works for CrossFit and he's coaching down south of us a little bit. And so he's going to fill in a couple of days. So that's Owen Clark. And then Caroline, she's been CrossFitting off and on as she was going through college. She's been with us a couple times in the summer. So she actually has a degree in exercise science. There's also David Wallace that we talked about. He's been doing this forever. I think he is the longest standing member in the gym, one day ahead of Sharon, who is one day ahead of Joe. So they've got 10 years on them, but super knowledgeable. This will be a lot of fun for him. And, for me to see him do this too. And then we had a fellow that had swung by a while back, Seth, who's also got a degree in exercise science. He's going to do some CrossFit with us for the next couple weeks and see if it's something he wants to take part of. I mean, hey, we're all new to him. You guys know me. You know us. You know my goal is fun, fitness, and for coaching. If it's not fun, I'm doing something wrong. If you would like to be part of the team, understand that. This is fun. First thing is you got to have fun. You got to enjoy this. Also, I want you to really be part of who we are, which is happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now as well as in our 90s. And our coaching staff is exactly that. Now, it may come across in different ways or not exactly your way, but in general, hey, we're glasses half full type of people, right? We want to be helpful. We're going to bring the laughs in class. We're hopefully going to tell a joke or two. Actually, the fun joke that's going on right now is I've had multiple coach reviews and they are basically always come down to, hey, you talk a lot. So I'm like, yeah, but it's funny stories. They're like, is it? So I told them, I was like, hey, if I'm talking, I'm doing a story or saying something and it's not really relevant, you can do the survey says, bah. So I told Coach Danny and Coach Jamie, and they're in class, and Danny's on the bike, and I'm like, hey, good. And I'm about to say, good job, keep it up, you're almost done. And she looks at me and just goes, bah. In the middle of her workout. I just started dying laughing. That's hilarious. So she's bringing the fun. There's laughs. It's great. All right. So we got these guys coaching. What we do on that is we started off with simple shadowing. Stand on my side, watch what I do, and at the end, we'll do a little debrief. It's interesting just from that, you could see the coordination of things going on that you probably don't actually even recognize going on. Or, hey, why do I have stuff written down on the whiteboards right in front of me? Because I don't want to lose track, right? And you realize now, oh, wow, doing 3 classes in a row, you could probably lose some track. So yes to that. And then, so there's, you shadow me, you watch me. Then we start doing it the other way. Like Kate the other day did, hey, I'm going to do the warm up. Like, perfect. So she did the warm up. Then I took over. Josh did the same thing. He's like, hey, I'm going to do the warm up. And if I feel like it's going okay, I'm going to do the next thing and so forth. I'm like, okay, sure. So we had a handoff. He's just going to be like, and now Andy's going to do the whiteboard brief. And we got to the whiteboard brief and he said, and he turned up there and he's like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, great. Let's see him do this. So we want you to be comfortable. I'm not going to push you to do anything that you're not really ready to do. That way it's fun. I take that back. I do want to push you even in the gym and when we're working out to a little bit of uncomfortable because that's where you grow. You grow when you push the edges of normal, right? That's where success and even failure comes from. I need to push a little bit. So I will push you a little bit, but it's not a job in the sense that you're fired. Like, the intern, is that what this is called? I don't know what it's called, but, you're not going to get fired. It might be that you're like, hey, this isn't for me. That's totally fine. I had coaches in the past or members in the past get their level 1 and then say, hey, I would like to coach. I'm like, great, we're going to do a shadowing thing and work this out. The first thing I need you to do is, let me take this away. We don't need that anymore. First thing I need you to do is start talking to people in the gym. Just say hi, introduce yourself and whatever. And they're like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, well, I mean, that's a huge part of it. So if you can't talk to people, then I can't really use you. And so we realized really quick, hey, I just want to lead class. I'm like, yeah, it's more than just leading class. And some of these guys will tell you that there's more to that, right? So anyway, there's a little bit to it, and I want to just give them a shout out. Thank you guys for stepping up. Anybody else out there that's interested, you can do your CrossFit Level 1 online. It's good for 3 years. After that, 3 years, as that's coming up, we would want you to get your Level 2. And if you've done some coaching, you're going to be good with that. My ideal would be, actually, let me pull this back up. On the coaching schedule would be to change this around a bit. Can I make this bigger? How do I just stretch it? Yeah, sure, whatever, that works. So if you notice, I like the way this works right here. So Danny's got the 6 a.m. class and then the 7:30 class. So then she can work out at the 8:30 class, right? Jamie's got 8:30 and 9:30, so she can work out at the 7:30. The way I don't really care for it like this, on the evening, typically we've been doing, Andy has 4, 5, and 6 on Monday. Laura has 4, 5, and 6 on Thursday, right? So basically, when do I work out? I have to come earlier. And not that I love the gym. I go there a lot. But I'm already going to work out, going home and cleaning up, coming back for summer strength, and going home, and then coming back to coach. I'm like, it's just too many times coming back. So what I'd love to be able to do for you guys that are coaching or interested is simply say something like, hey, get on the schedule 3 days a week, and we'll use other people to fill in the other times, and coach and then work out, or work out and then coach. And you do 2 hours. It's a lot of fun and you're done, right? If you're like, hey, this is even more fun than I thought, I want to do some more coaching, great. We'll give you some more hours. But the idea is, one, if people go on vacation, we have some subs. Two, other people that love this stuff are building up their skill sets. So it's weird. Trust me. You're going to be harder to kill doing this for sure. You're also going to learn a lot about what we do and why we do it, and why some things don't matter and some things do, right? So getting on the side of it is super helpful. I can't take everybody. Let's see. I said there was 8 classes. So 8 times 5 days a week, that's 40 classes. If everyone did 3 classes, that would be 13-ish coaches. That's probably way too many coaches. So 13 is probably my maximum number, but I guess that's not true. We have some people on the sidelines like Nick Lubbers, works for CrossFit, has his level 1. He's like, yeah, I'll fill in a pinch if you need me to. And I got other people that do that as well. So I suppose that's not true. We could have other coaches like on call. And that's an option too. If you're like, hey, I'm interested, I just want to be an on-call coach. If you ever have an emergency, great. I still would like to give you training and give you some education on what we do. It's, again, not rocket science, but there's more to it than here's the warm-up, here's the workout, right? Especially if you want to have fun with it and have people enjoy your class. Okay, enough of that. You do need to rest, and you do want to increase your knowledge. To those guys that are stepping up, thank you. I think I got everybody's name in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I probably should have done this a long time ago. Jamie's been telling me for a while, hey, we need more coaches. And not that I wasn't listening, I just don't think I listened fast enough. I heard it and I was like, okay, I'm going to do some emails and I'm going to send out I sent out, so there's a thing called the CrossFit training directory. So if you want to find CrossFit trainers, you can go in there and they just list out all their trainers and where they're located and all that. And so I was looking for level 2s and level 3s and emailing them, and I was basically going to take forever. And I should have gone the other route, which is, hey, who in the gym is interested in this? You know our culture. You already are who we are. Let us build you up in that regard, right? So I should have done that sooner. Thank you guys for waiting for me to finally make a smart call there. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Hey, this is Andy McCann. If you are local to Woodstock, we are here just across from Black Rifle Coffee, across-ish from First Baptist Woodstock. Our goal is to help you become the hero of your own story, and we just want to help. If you're not local, I'm happy to help you. You can email me, andy@crossfitgarage.com. More than likely, I'll give you some piece of advice, but then try to help you find a local gym to help yourself out with, because it's always better to have local support, in my opinion. All right, guys, take care. Be good.